Today on CityCast Las Vegas, criminal defense attorney David Figler helps us peel the curtain back on the horrible case of the Hope for Prisoners founder who was accused of sexual assault and using his position to solicit sexual favors from women who were incarcerated. Plus, artist Vogue Robinson explains why the Raiders are asking for $75 million for a new stadium project. And we've got another installment of our Vegas Fixations coming your way. It's Tuesday, August 25th. I'm Jesse Merrick, and here's what Las Vegas is talking about. Let's get the show rolling and dive into a wild situation with Hope for Prisoners. David, can you explain to us what exactly is going on here?
Yeah, it's a bit of a convoluted story. It goes back a while. Back in around 2010, there was this fellow named John Ponder who had a really amazing story of redemption. He had been in prison before for bank robbery. He had a bunch of other various and sundry offenses locally or in the state. But that redemption story now is in peril as some new allegations have come forward. So before I get to the Hope for Prisoners controversy, I just have to disclose that I used to work very closely with one of John Ponder's attorneys who had served on the board of Hope for Prisoners and whose resignation letter from that board is part of the controversy or at least the center of the issue right now. So just rest assured, I'm not giving any confidential information in this conversation. It's all stuff that's been gleaned from the public record or from media accounts.
Definitely. And before we dive into Ponder, too, I think we should probably set the table on what exactly it is that Hope for Prisoners does, right?
Sure. And I could do that as well. So the basic concept of Hope for Prisoners as a nonprofit is that they assist people who are either in prison now, about to come out, because most people who go to prison have an end date, or once people are out, as a resource to help them reacclimate into society through various means. To that end, Hope for Prisoners has, over the years, scaled up and been affiliated with a number of both religious organizations and law enforcement organizations who I think, everyone has the same goal that if somebody is coming out of prison, we want to do as a society the best we can to, help them come back into society in the best way possible, preventing potential recidivism, but also for their own mental well-being and the betterment of all of us. So the story really kind of takes a weird twist around 2020. What has been reported in the media is that there were some concerns from members of the board, specifically one attorney, who had suggested to the other board members that moving forward with John could be problematic. And certainly there was an indication that either more vetting or more thoughtfulness needed to be placed on the backs of the board of directors to make sure that John was the best person to move forward with this organization, which again, theoretically provides a great service for the community, even though they are not a government entity. In other words, they're doing a lot of the work as a third party that we'd like to think that the government would do itself to help people when they transition out of prison. That caused, from what I understand, again, in the media accounts, a bit of a riff amongst the board. Board members resigned, other board members came on. There were some very prominent names on this board because it was a very high profile and still is a very high profile organization. Names that have been floating around are like District Attorney Steve Wolfson, current Sheriff Kevin McMahill, and certainly there were a lot of folks over the years of operation because they have these very high profile graduation ceremonies where people who've gone through the program get acknowledged and their stories get told. It has become, I don't want to be cynical, but, it is a photo op for a lot of politicians, whether they be running for legislative office or even judges are being involved in this. And so a lot of people have invested very heavily in both the concept of Hope for Prisoners and John Ponder as the figurehead of that. Right. And now comes these allegations, which some are suggesting might have been telegraphed to the board of directors, who are ultimately the responsible entity for any nonprofit, years ago, but now they're coming to light. It started back in April with some reporting from Dana Gentry over at the Nevada Current that John Ponder had been barred from the very prisons where his organization was operating, that he was a persona non grata.
Okay.
Right? That gives you a side eye of like, what the hell is going on here?
And that caused a lot of concern. And then the recent revelation that he has been charged with multiple counts of using his position as the head of Hope for Prisoners to either intimidate or unfairly coerce and or convince actual inmates, female inmates, to engage in or potentially engage in sexual conduct with him. His most serious charge he's facing of the multiple counts is sexual assault, also coercion for the purpose of sexual assault, and then a host of charges involving improper conduct or sexual conduct between a volunteer in the prison or a prison worker and an inmate. So it's really, really messy. He was being held on $200,000 bail. His attorney, high-profile attorney David Chesnoff, is now representing him. So there's a lot of questions still remaining. But I think, Jesse, and this is the last point, the reason this has made national news, not just because it implicates a lot of people and programming and high-profile electeds here in Nevada, but because years ago, back in 2020, President Trump, during his first term, decided to give Mr. Ponder a pardon for his prior crimes. And both of them spoke, I believe, from the White House itself about how John is such a great example of a person who could turn their life around. So all that is now up in the air, Vogue and Jesse.
So yeah, there's a ton of layers to this one, David, as you just laid out. Thank you so much for that. But Vogue, if this is true, I mean, this dates back apparently to 2020. Like, where the heck is the accountability for the nonprofit, but also just for him as a whole? It seems like this slipped through the cracks for quite some time.
You know, with sexual assault, there are so many things to say about this, but the difficulty about a person coming forward and saying that it even happened, the power dynamics, if somebody is the face of this organization, if it's done so much good, if I think for many people, they think about, okay, well, if I say what happened, how does that impact everyone else? And does that undo all the good that has been done?
Exactly. And that's an important part to bring up, because that's where you're playing that weird balancing game. Yeah. Yeah.
So I could see where someone would possibly feel conflicted, even a person who was a victim, or a person who was assaulted. And so and this prospect of, we don't know what kind of violence people are enduring in the prisons already. And so if they decided that this particular thing one time would be less difficult than X amount of years still in prison.
That's a great point, which is horrible to have a human being have to play that game, but that's a really great point. Yeah.
Yeah. So I think that combination is really difficult. I think somebody kind of being, the canary in the mine shaft, as they say, but somebody giving the warning and saying, hey, maybe this guy isn't the best face of the company, was that first very quiet warning. And who's to say how much violence has been done in between that first statement to now. So I think it's not just the nonprofit. I think the primary person who needs to be held accountable is the person who took the actions. And so obviously the case will go forward. We'll find out what the facts are, or what information is provable. But I think you cannot blame one organization for the actions of one human being. Should there be checks and balances? Yes, but I think that has to do with what is happening in the prisons.
But as we talked about, Hope for Prisoners seemingly done a lot of really good. I believe it was in a story with Channel 8 where they interviewed a man who came through the program and said he's completely rehabilitated and come through and now is a homeowner and is like on his feet. And you could imagine to put the pieces of the puzzle together that he's like a positive asset here in society now, which is the hope of this whole thing. So can Hope for Prisoners rebound from this, given all the craziness that the CEO is wrapped up in, David?
Jesse, to the extent that they really do good things in the community, I think that our community needs to find a way to keep those types of programs moving forward. And I don't know if anyone has actually audited this company to make sure that it is precisely doing what it's supposed to be doing, or that it's doing it in the most effective way. It is a nonprofit that is doing what I think a lot of people think should be the work of government. And, because there are good stories that come out of it, Jesse, anecdotally, it seems to be a value for our society. But is it being done in the best way? And so the question is, will somebody do that sort of analysis to determine whether or not this program should continue, or if we could find a way to replace it with maybe even a better, more effective program?
There are literally grants through Clark County called outside agency grants, and they're specifically for if the government cannot meet all of the needs or is not able to serve every kind of census tract, you can write a grant and receive funds to serve communities that are underserved. And so it's not uncommon because the work is bountiful, unfortunately, and there are a lot of people who have a lot of different needs. I think an audit definitely is necessary and a restructuring because what was his role? Was Ponder's role like executive director?
Yeah, and so that's kind of the thing too, right? So when he started this organization,
what was he doing in the streets?
It was much smaller.
Your job is
but he was very
getting funding and schmoozing.
Yeah, but also very involved in the programming itself. And, initially he's the one who's going to organize the board, et cetera. I mean, one point I did leave out, Jesse, and it's been implicated in, again, reporting by Dana Gentry, is that at some place in time, many years ago, an outside law firm came in to look at John Ponder and his role. And apparently they had, and again, this is reporting in the Nevada Current, had recommended that he be excluded from the type of operations that it seems like he was doing at the time of these allegations arising. And I don't know if that report will ever come to light or what the discussion is. But, you also asked, Jesse, like, who's responsible for it? Obviously, the individual's responsible for his own actions. But then it goes in a nonprofit world, as Vogue will tell you, because she's very involved in nonprofits as well. It's the board of directors. But when you do have a contract with, like, say, the prisons, or when you're involved with Metro, I think the responsibility goes to all of them, too. Because if this is happening inside the prison, well, then the Nevada Department of Corrections needs to be looked at to, how they could allow these sort of things to happen. If Metro is very heavily involved with him, how are they not seeing or participating in making sure that everything's above board?
Las Vegas wasn't ready for Elvis Presley in 1956. Billed by his manager, Colonel Tom Parker, as the atomic-powered singer, his debut at the New Frontier met an indifferent audience. But when Elvis returned in 1969, he was ready to transform Las Vegas entertainment with a secret weapon: groundbreaking costume design. Join costume historian Karen Fetter for Elvis, Dressed to Rock, a fascinating presentation tracing the thrilling evolution of the King's iconic stage wardrobe at the International Theater at Westgate Las Vegas Resort and Casino. This presentation is part of Duck Duck Shed 2026, the cultural experience from the Neon Museum about Las Vegas design, culture, and the city's ever-changing built environment. Admission includes a backstage tour, entry to Elvis's green room, and a tour of the stage as well. You can experience Elvis where history happened at Westgate Las Vegas. Get tickets now at duckduckshed.com.
The following is a paid political advertisement paid for by the committee to elect Alex Quagg.
Hi, CityCast listeners. I'm Alex Quagg, and I'm running for Clark County District Court Judge, Department 29. Southern Nevada is my home. I graduated from El Dorado High School and UNLV. From my first job to now raising my family, this community has shaped who I am. That's why public service is personal to me. I've spent my career serving on all sides of our justice system, representing service members in the Army, working as a prosecutor, and seeing how courtroom decisions ripple through people's lives and through our community. That's a responsibility I never take lightly. Clark County deserves judges who bring experience, dignity, and respect to every person who enters the courtroom. I'm proud to have earned the support of prosecutors, defense attorneys, law enforcement, labor unions, veterans organizations, and many others across our community. From JAG to judge, I'd be honored to earn your vote. I'm Alex Quagg, running for Clark County District Court, Department 29. Learn more at electalexquagg.com.
Paid for by the committee to elect Alex Quagg. CityCast does not endorse candidates for office.
All right, guys, so we're a city that is relatively new to the major league sports scene. So we've seen our fair share of stadiums pop up over the years, and now the Raiders are back in the news asking for some money. Vogue, give us the deets on what's going down here.
Oh, good times. What is happening? Why are the Raiders asking for money, and why are we going to give it to them again? They are set to spend $158 million to create better access to the Allegiant Stadium, aka the Death Star, aka the Roomba. And so about half of those funds are going to be public funds from the surplus room tax. How are they able to get this money? Well, they just request it. They just go, "Hi, can I have some money?" From the stadium authority. And this feels like a room where it happened situation, because the only board members that were present from the stadium authority for this meeting where they made the request were people who were staff from the Raiders and the Athletics. So people who, I don't know, just had something to gain from the funding, from the saying yes of the funding. And so this waterfall account that the authority has voted on, or rather, they can't do the final yes because it was put on the floor. I was like, this is the Robert's Rules part of my brain. It's like, you can introduce and make the request, but they couldn't actually vote on it. They can't vote on it until September 2nd. But essentially, I mean, it sounds like it's a yes and it's going forward. And in 2016, there was a Senate bill, the original budget for the stadium was $750 million, or rather the public money for the stadium at the very beginning was $750 million, which was 37% of the $2 billion budget to make the stadium. It feels like that stadium is a little trust fund baby, and it has multiple bank accounts that it can just request money from. And money was put aside just in case the tax, the surplus tax money from hotels and casinos, things like that. If that money wasn't enough, there's money that's put aside just in case that doesn't work out. So they're able to pay their bond. So they're paying their regular bills. They're making up for money that they're losing as a result of UNLV's team playing there, because those not that filling up all of those seats. Mm-hmm. And I think that their overarching, or rather the note from Sandra Douglas Morgan, who's over the Raiders, she said, we've done what we said we were going to do. That we've brought in $10.6 billion. There's been 151 ticketed events. There's been 7 million fans. So we did what we said we were going to do. We've made Las Vegas, a sports and entertainment capital of the world. People are coming here, and we've transformed the economy. And these are Vogue's translations. This is not a direct quote.
These are more Vogueisms. Yeah.
These are Vogueisms. This is just my translations of it. But, from her perspective and from the numbers that she has, she's saying, we did what we said we were going to do. We're bringing in the money. If it ain't about the money, what is it about? So what's us asking for, $75 million when we've brought in billions over time and are going to continue to do so. And this is just going to make it easier for people to get from the Strip to the stadium, which if you've ever made that trek, it's a trek.
It's definitely not easy. And I think it's important to classify too that again, the money that already went to the stadium and this account, they are separate accounts. And again, after everything was paid in terms of the debt for the stadium, those bills are paid. This is surplus money in a separate account that was already earmarked for, additions and things like that, or upkeep for the stadium.
Updates.
Yeah. So it's not money. A total blindsided, hey, we need more money, give us more from, the hotel room tax or anything like that. This is something that was already earmarked for that and set up dating back as far as 2016. I just think that's something that's very clear. This is a separate account that actually will have $75 million in it by, I believe, June of this year.
Yeah.
Or June of next year, I guess is what they're saying.
I think. Yeah.
Which would cover the cost of this, essentially. Lots of accounts. Just realize that this was one that was already earmarked for projects like this. Because I think it's easy on the surface level for people to sit back and be like, wait, $75 million of public money, they want more? That's not necessarily the case because it was set aside for this. Having said that, David, we just set the table for you. I know you have some thoughts on this. I want to get you back in on this. It is still, in some way, shape, or form, taxpayer dollars, even though it doesn't come directly from us here in Nevada. It is mostly from tourists. What is your thoughts on money being sent to the Raiders in order to do something like this?
I find it outrageous and obnoxious and offensive that a billionaire and his company that is not only creating all this money for our community, which I know is the party line, but also creating lots and lots and lots and lots and lots and lots of money for themselves. They've become very, very rich. The Raiders have increased in value because of what Las Vegas has given them. They do not have to. They are not required to use additional public funds to spruce up their already new stadium, to basically put on a beautiful porch on their already giant mansion, okay? So let's just get it very clear that there is no requirement that they use public funds to upgrade their brand new stadium. And just to be clear, when they make these presentations to the Stadium Authority to make it look like everything is above board, they pull out the same individual, Jeremy Aguero, who used to be employed by the Raiders themselves involving their financing to say everything is so wonderful, we kind of owe it to them. Now, to me, the optics of this is crazy in a community where we are struggling for funds to go to all sorts of things, but maybe most importantly, housing. Now, I understand that these public funds should only be used or can only be used for things that enhance or improve this part of town, namely the Strip, namely the stadium district. So why is no one talking about using these extra funds, because there's these extra funds, to build workforce housing for the people who are being paid very little to work at Allegiant Stadium or to support the services and things that happen at Allegiant Stadium? Why are we as a grown-up city, a first-class city, not having conversations if we have excess funds that could be only used in stadium or strip-related ways to do better things for the community in stadium and strip-related ways? Look, we made a bad deal. I think we made a bad deal with the Raiders in giving them all those public funds in the first place, that the return and investment for community was not as great as it could have been, that we were in a much better position to leverage a much better deal. So now that I would love profit sharing, Jesse. Like, we don't get profit sharing with all the money that the Raiders make.
I wanted to know what the alternative option would be.
Yeah, profit sharing. But we don't get profit sharing. So here's something in lieu of profit sharing. Build your own damn porch. Look, they're not even giving us a winning team. Sorry, that's not fair. That's not fair.
So
that's not fair.
I do have to jump in real quick here with something.
Jesse, I was going to say, I feel like we should tell the people, what else was being built, because it's not just a new entry point; it is a new porch. But Jesse, do you want to run through what all they're designing?
Defend Mark Davis and all the money that the Raiders are making,
and knock it off.
David, you had to make a disclosure before, so I need to make one as well. The folks at home don't see us on video just yet. That will be coming soon. Soon enough, you guys will see me in my office where there happens to be a Raiders helmet. I happen to own a Raiders-focused media business. I cover the team and have since 2019 since they've been here, and I have relationships within that building. So I have to make sure I say all of that. To preface that I am, yes, going to defend a bit of this spending here for this team. But essentially what they're doing is creating a pedestrian bridge that is still on the stadium site. The bridge itself won't go over Hacienda. That that's what's turned into a pedestrian bridge, shut down on game day so people can walk across it. That stays the same. This essentially creates a bridge in front of the stadium and another little concert venue type of thing for outdoor entertainment and things like that. And essentially just another area for fans to walk under shade. To David's point there, rideshare will also be housed there. It's currently housed across the street from where this will be in a private lot. So I'd imagine now that brings in some money either to the Raiders or the county by moving it there rather than this private lot, and all that stuff, a private owned lot there. So there's a lot of layers to it that goes into it. I want to make sure I get in and just note that the Raiders have done a lot of good here in the community. Yes, they took a lot of public funds and things like that. But even just today, as we are taping this, they donated $25 million to go towards the state's first standalone children's hospital. $5 million of that coming out of 3 different Raiders owners' pockets, plus another $10 million from the Raiders. And that's not including the tens of millions of dollars that they have directly given to charities since they've been here in Las Vegas. So it's not like they're just take. And I'm not acting like, they have been given this great thing and all. Come on. But they are giving back into the community. And what other thing that you could bring here to Las Vegas would have the same type of impact that Allegiant Stadium has had in terms of bringing the Super Bowl and the $1 billion that brought into our economy? And Vogue, you noted the number as well, $10.6 million since they've come here. So I think it's important to note all of those things that they are.
Can we note how much money they've made too off of Las Vegas, Jesse?
They've made a lot.
A lot.
They've made a lot. But how much
and
are
so
the casinos making, and what are they doing for our city?
Well, that's the thing too. That's a whole different conversation. But
the middle ground. Here's the thing: we can all dislike together. It's not as bad as the F1 deal, you guys.
Well, that's what I'm saying. Is that they're all in on it? Right? The Stadium Authority has people from the casinos, and the LVCVA, the head of that, is also the head of the Stadium Authority, and it's all entwined. The thing that I'm most concerned about is not just the optics of giving more public funds for something. Sure, I get it. I get exactly what you said, Jesse, and I don't disagree with anything, except I don't think that it's contextually the full story. in that the raters could just pay for it themselves. Look, it's a bad optic. We are struggling in this community with housing, with mental health, with medical care, with mental health care for all, with transportation, with so many different things, to say, hey, we've got this pool of public funds, and that's what they are, public funds accessible for the public good, to use it for this project when it's not necessary because they aren't losing money. They are making scads of money. They can afford it. There are plenty of people in this community who can't afford basic services, and we're not giving it to them. That is a disconnect to me.
Although the Raiders are, though, just want to make sure and throw that out there. The Raiders are giving that money to them. A great example is that they've got a lot of mental health initiatives. They donated $3 million from their annual Silver and Black Gala to mental health services here in the Valley. So they're donating directly to those causes.
Directly, but not necessarily with their money. I get it.
Yeah. But still, I just want to make sure we note that they are doing a lot of good here. And I already gave the caveats of what I do for work outside of CityCast and my relationships over there. But
Spicy,
I think it's
Jesse,
worth noting
it's
that
good.
they are doing a lot of good.
We do need to talk.
For the year.
Look,
that's for sure.
Hey, I want to say this is the closing. There need to be more conversations like the one that you, me, and Vogue are having right now, as opposed to rubber stamps at places like the Stadium Authority. This conversation is the real deal. That stuff, maybe not so much.
Las Vegas wasn't ready for Elvis Presley in 1956. Billed by his manager, Colonel Tom Parker, as the atomic-powered singer, his debut at the New Frontier met an indifferent audience. But when Elvis returned in 1969, he was ready to transform Las Vegas entertainment with a secret weapon: groundbreaking costume design. Join costume historian Karen Feder for Elvis, Dressed to Rock, a fascinating presentation tracing the thrilling evolution of the King's iconic stage wardrobe at the International Theater at Westgate Las Vegas Resort and Casino. This presentation is part of Duck Duck Shed 2026, the cultural experience from the Neon Museum about Las Vegas design, culture, and the city's ever-changing built environment. Admission includes a backstage tour, entry to Elvis's green room, and a tour of the stage as well. You can experience Elvis where history happened at Westgate Las Vegas. Get tickets now at duckduckshed.com.
The following is a paid political advertisement paid for by the committee to elect Alex Quagg.
Hi, CityCast listeners. I'm Alex Quagg, and I'm running for Clark County District Court Judge, Department 29. Southern Nevada is my home. I graduated from El Dorado High School and UNLV. From my first job to now raising my family, this community has shaped who I am. That's why public service is personal to me. I've spent my career serving on all sides of our justice system, representing service members in the Army, working as a prosecutor, and seeing how courtroom decisions ripple through people's lives and through our community. That's a responsibility I never take lightly. Clark County deserves judges who bring experience, dignity, and respect to every person who enters the courtroom. I'm proud to have earned the support of prosecutors, defense attorneys, law enforcement, labor unions, veterans organizations, and many others across our community. From JAG to judge, I'd be honored to earn your vote. I'm Alex Quagg, running for Clark County District Court, Department 29. Learn more at electalexquagg.com.
Paid for by the committee to elect Alex Quagg. CityCast does not endorse candidates for office.
Okay, so let's dive in. You guys have seen us debut in some new segments here and there, and we've got another installment of our Vegas Fixations of the Week. I love this one because, one, it lets me know how our contributors are thinking and the different things to check out around town. And it also, too, lets us get some things off our chest that are just Vegas-related that we can't stop thinking about. So with that, Vogue, I'll turn it over to you. Why don't you give us your Vegas Fixation of the Week here?
Okay, y'all. So my current Vegas fixation, it has to do with the fact that I need to finish my second book. And so in that process, what I need is a third space. And we know I love the libraries, but I love the hustle and bustle of a coffee shop more. And my goal as of late, and I've been able to find more of them, are coffee shops that are open later in the evening. And so wouldn't you know it, y'all, I don't live too far away from Bronze Cafe. So it's like right off of Smoke Ranch in Buffalo. Across the way is actually Baby Stacks Pancakes, that's another fixation for later.
I was going to say, if you're working from there, that's wild.
Actually, I was just reading, oh my gosh, I think it was the writer who did The Wire. He used to hang out in Bob's Burgers, his TV show, Vogue.
Oh, yeah.
Big Bob's Burgers is also a place, right?
Big Boy.
Yeah, I think Big Boy. There you go. I was gonna say,
he used to write in Big Boy. So like people do finish books in diners also back in the day. Anywho. I love the Bronze Cafe. My goal has been to find as many coffee shops that are open later in the evening as possible that have easily accessible outlets where I can write things, low-key overhear conversations, catch a little bit of the noise of like a blender or a coffee grinder, and take in the general joyful ambiance, but also have a window to look out of because I need to stare into the abyss while I figure out what the next line of these darn poems are going to be. It has this really interesting like mermaid mural across the wall.
Oh, interesting.
It serves the cocoa love, so the coconut water that's like Vegas based. And what else do they have? And then it's a pretty solid like vegan, vegetarian friendly menu, but it's like half and half. So you could go all the way over here and get bacon jam, or you can stay in this zone and get something that's more a vegan or vegetarian sandwich. And they used to have this really bomb vegan cheesecake. And I don't know if they still have that because I've been eating this thing that is shaped like a hockey puck, but it is a pumpkin chocolate muffin top dense goodness.
Whatever the hell it is, it sounds amazing.
They serve it all year long, and it has just the right amount of, I don't even think it has butter, y'all. I don't know, but it's so good. So go to the Bronze Cafe because it's open until 9 p.m. most days, like including weekend days. It's open until 9 p.m.
It's butter-free, it's sugar-free, it's guilt-free.
Come on, David, you better...
Yeah. The calories don't count either. Yeah, all of that.
Oh, but it's so good.
It makes
Jesse.
you more beautiful after you eat it.
They're so good. And it's 3 for $9.
Oh, nice.
Yeah, it was like you can get 1 for $4, you can get 3 for $9. So like they're just like they're basically
That's
just
dangerous.
giving pastries away.
Why?
They said it's 1 for now, 1 for later, 1 for your mother.
Yeah, see, I already have a problem with eating just one. I don't need excuses to eat 3 of them. What are we doing here?
A 1 for later, 1 for Boo Thang. Come on.
She's gluten and dairy free, so I get to eat all the actual.
There you go.
I'm gonna stop by, see what else they got.
I love that. With that, David, what's your Vegas fixation this week?
Well, you know how I get nostalgia brain just all the time, and it came up on my feed.
That's your brain.
Yeah, well, that's the part that sometimes takes over that I'm not too happy with, because you got to look forward always, Vogue. You got to look to the future. Sometimes. Yeah. That said, it came up in my feed that it has been 10 years, which I can't even fathom, since they imploded the remainder of the Riviera Hotel.
Riviera.
It's been a decade since we lost the Riviera.
I was here.
Yeah.
I'm so Vegas, y'all.
So, I mean, we've had hotels come and go since then, notably like the Tropicana. But like, my fixation requires me to start like remembering the things that were there and try to memorialize them so that others will understand what it is that we had or maybe are on the verge of losing as we move forward, right? So I spent way too much of my free time jotting down all the things I could remember about the Riviera Hotel, and I put it up on my stupid Substack, and I am just obsessing with all things Riviera right now, even though, I said, it's been gone a decade now. That's the part that blows my mind the most, is that it's been so long.
What were the top 3 favorite things about the Riviera, David?
Well, first of all, it was one of the first 10 major resorts on the Strip. So it's OG,
so it's an OG.
Right? 2, I did live right behind it. So I have very personal accounts. We shared a cinder block wall, the apartment complex that I lived in back in the days when people were encouraged to live right by where they work so they could just walk to work, And my dad was a casino worker down the street at the Sahara. And so I have lots of fond recollections of everything from the tennis tournaments that were happening on the other side of the fence to all the kind of cool new innovations, sneaking into the pool and all that good stuff. But 3, I think the thing that I miss most about the Riviera was just the eclectic entertainment that occurred there, from the very famous Crazy Girls with the if, ands, or buts statue that now is prominently displayed at the Circa Hotel.
It's like historic.
They captured it.
It's historic.
Do you know this? Do you know the sculpture I'm talking about, Jesse?
The historic butts. No, I don't.
Okay,
I don't
so
know this
in
one.
honor of this crazy show at the Riviera, and again, the Riviera had tons of crazy shows. I'm not even going to get into Splash.
Back to butts, David.
But the Crazy Girls was a...
Bo, keeping us on track here about
it was a very low end, no pun intended, showgirl review. And to honor it, because it had a degree of popularity / notoriety, they did a bronze cast of the cast of crazy girls with their posteriors.
Oh, I have seen that.
Yeah.
Now that you say it, I have seen that one. I know what you're talking about. Yeah.
I mean, it used to be a very
Kind of
funny
arms around
example.
each other's waist.
Yeah,
Give us an example.
That thing
It
is
was the view of
wild.
them from the back.
It used to be like, give us an example of public art in Las Vegas. We're like, that. We've gotten better.
I remember seeing that now and being like, God, that feels like it's so Las Vegas. Like the first time I saw
Very
it, I was like, that's a
throwback.
statue that belongs here.
And the fact that it was not just salvaged and rescued, but on display at a new casino, again, the Circa, I love that about the Riviera. So those are three easy ones. I mean, I'm not trying to, promote my own Substack, but that piece goes on forever. So that's at Oi Vegas, which all my media is at, is Oi Vegas. But yeah, that's my obsession of the moment is old casinos done imploded, Jesse.
Jesse, what's your obsession?
Yeah, okay. So you guys know I live downtown. David, I know you do too as well. Vogue, obviously, I know you frequent the Arts District. There's a place called Brew House. You guys know about it?
Oh, yeah. I've been watching
No,
it
wait.
slow build for well over a year.
Wait. Is it
Forever,
next to
it
Abel
feels
Baker?
like.
No.
No. So it's actually off the main street drag there of the Arts District and on the
Okay.
corner of Las Vegas Boulevard and Oakey. And again, it's a weird location. Okay?
The old
It's
Firestone.
tucked behind the gas station there. Yeah. It was an old tire shop. Yeah, it's tucked behind the 7-Eleven and the Sinclair gas station there on Las Vegas Boulevard and Oakey. Very odd location. There's like a space for 11 to 12 tenants. Right now, again, it's called Brew House, but apparently the owner's referring to it as the campus. Hasn't opened just yet, but it seems like it's going to soon. But like David, every time I drive past it, I've been like, what is going back there? What's it going to look like? All this stuff. And the RJ just recently did a story kind of updating that they're almost done and everything like that. And there's going to, the hope is for like a tequila bar, a brewery, and a bunch of food and beverage offerings, essentially. Now, I don't believe there are any parking spots in there because, again, it's too small. And it feels almost like a mini version of Container Park.
That's what I was gonna
tucked
say.
away in a weird location.
Weird.
My question, and the reason I'm so fascinated by it is because I'm like, who the hell's going to go there? And I'm not trying to dog the guys think, but I'm just like, who's going to go there because it's a weird location? And will it actually work? Because if it works, it could really bring that area around and kind of spur more growth there and maybe be a weird like kind of connector to the Arts District from like all the neighborhoods where myself and a lot of the downtowners live and the Arts District. Do you guys think this thing has legs? Can it work? I personally, again, hate to be the Debbie Downer, don't think it will because it's a weird spot, but I would love for it to.
The initial challenge when they went in front of the planning commission, and I kind of watched all that too because, super geek.
Nerd.
Yeah, especially when it comes to planning in our,
That's why you're here.
in our city. They do have parking set up, but it is on the other side of Las Vegas Boulevard. So that's a little, I think, of a bit of a challenge. The one thing they do have going for it, though, is its proximity to storied Lovett's Frozen Custard. It's right across the way.
Custard
Hot
spot,
spot.
David.
Yeah.
It's by the custard
And-
spot.
Right across the street,
And
yeah.
Baja Mar and Dino's
Baja Mar,
and Peppermint
Viva Las
Hippo.
Vegas.
Bus. Yeah.
So, I mean, there might be an energy that has been missing to bring it all together that, and I understand that these developers have had other projects in the Arts District and that they are well regarded and beloved and that they're being thoughtful. But yeah, I'm like you, Jesse. I look at it and I'm like, who's it for? Is it going to get people to come into an area that they're only usually come for one thing and then leave? But hopeful.
Yeah,
I'm hopeful.
we're rooting for them. But
Vogue, you coming down
Vogue,
for
what
that?
What are you thinking about that spot? Yeah.
Yeah, that sounds like a great corner for crime.
Oh, my thoughts
It's-
exactly
It's just,
though.
it's a little tucked away,
Yeah.
I have a friend who lives off of Oakey. Like I just drove to go see them the other day. So I'm like, that corner, people are handling their business.
Yeah.
Walking from place.
I mean-
It seems curious and we'll see how it thrives in the fall when walking will not be as much of a difficulty.
Exactly. More investigation needed is what I'm hearing, guys. And we will definitely be doing that. In the meantime, thank you so much. We hit on so much today. This was one hell of a show.
Thank you so much, Jesse.
Always a pleasure.
Nice to see you, Figler.
Keep having me back. I'll be spicy, I promise.
Always. That's all for today here on CityCast Las Vegas. If you enjoyed the show, why not tell a friend? Rate the show, leave us a review, and subscribe to our free morning newsletter as well. And don't forget, you can support this show and get great perks by becoming a CityCast Las Vegas neighbor at membership.citycast.fm/Las Vegas. We'll be back tomorrow morning with more news from around the city. Until then, though, take care.